Hey everybody, I'm Bob Murdock here with the Evolve Fireside Chat. Today with me is Bob Husky, President and CEO of Evolve.
Glad to be here.
Bob, thanks for taking time out of your day. I know you're busy. But what I wanted to talk to you about were trends. We see a lot of trends in the business because people are renting gear from us, video rental house. So we have to be on top of things. And I want to talk about resolution. It started back in the day with slides, and then it progressed to video, which back then it looked like garbage because it was standard def.
Yep. 480, 525 was awesome back then.
The best. And so he had to line double everything to bring it up to graphics, which was whopping 1024 by 768. But then HD came out, changed everything. Problem with HD was you couldn't do blends. So then 3G came out. And now there's 12G. What are you seeing as where Evolve's going and where the industry's going?
I think that what we run into is a lot more driven by the content developers. How much bandwidth they have and resources to create the higher resolutions. It's when HD came out, the record capabilities and the size of the drives, everything required, the render time to push out content was not in their wheelhouse at the time. So a lot of people held on to that SD format. You faked HD, you masked it to 16:9 so it looked HD. And then everyone got on board with it, and we started doing a lot more of true HD in video, which then lent to much better blending capabilities and the wide screens, and starting telling clients they could do 3,000 to 3,500 pixels wide by the 1080, and the graphics people could work with that. The move into 4K has been a little bit lagging in the fact that, again, the content developers needing to render all videos at 4K, shoot in 4K, create all the content in 4K. It has taken, and it was well predicted that it would take years to everyone to get on board with this. When we did it, Evolve, we made a plan 5 years ago that said we will be fully 4K before everybody else. Now, we didn't necessarily hit that target because our clients, we still have to give what our clients are asking for. They didn't ask for 4K, so we kept investing heavily in some HD. But now we are officially all 4K sans some of the lower end projectors for breakouts and so on. Mm-hmm. Even that is going to get more and more in demand. The 12G signal is easier to manage in that, it's an SDI cable or 12G cable, but it's a copper, it's robust, you can go distance. It's what we're running into now with that move where it was displays and projection. That was the workhorse. LED was there, it was the luxury line item that you could get maybe. And then pre-pandemic, and especially during the pandemic, LED kind of jumped to the forefront in its capabilities. And there's not a wall out there that's ever 3840 by 2160 or 1920. So custom EDIDs, custom frame rates were required, and that's where 12G, as we all know, suffers. It's a very symmetrical. It's 720, it's 1080, it's 2160. So we're on board with HDMI 2.1 and the display port and still some 12G applications, but what we're finding now is everything is custom.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be a custom resolution. I personally feel LED is going to continue to be a mainstay and a driving force, but everyone's been there, did it. So we're starting to see more and more movement back to the projection, for bigger palettes, bigger surface areas. Right. Volume size use is very difficult with LED due to weight restrictions and time restrictions, where projection can kind of step in there. So the 30Ks are becoming the norm, where it was back in our day, it could have been a 6K or 8K projector was killing it. Yeah. Then it was a 12K, then you had to be 20K. I think we're just going to see that requirement of brightness continue to grow up. And projection sans more into that 12G capability, that 4K native resolutions is going to be a little bit more.
Now, like you were saying, most of our projectors are 4K capable. Are people using it using the projectors in 4K, do you think?
I think what we're seeing is where 3 years ago, it was maybe 10 or 15% maximum we're actually utilizing the 4K capabilities. Now, I think we're getting more into the 50 to 60 percentile range. We're seeing more and more where, yes, they're renting the 4K projector, but they want 1080 fiber solutions to get their signal pushed out. Now, they're requesting that 4K, the 12G capability to push, the HDMI 2.0, 2.1 capability to push. So I think we're going to see more and more people are going to start to take it. It doesn't mean that all of the content is being done in 4K. We have 4K cameras on site. They're IMAGing in 4K, but they're recording in HD purely just because it's archival, and they just don't want to run up to terabytes of record for program, primary, and backup, and ISO 1, 2, 3, and 4. You need terabytes and terabytes of data storage. So I think we're still going to see HD being a lot of the capture side, but I think now everyone realized that 4K is here to stay, and it's not as hard of a process to get onto the screen as it was 3 years ago or 5 years ago.
Gotcha. So you've already answered this, but I just want to throw this question back out at you. Those people who say that LED has killed projection, what do you say?
I'd say if you were in a rental business as we are, and the number of orders I have right now already for the next 2 months, we're 100% booked on a lot of our products. So projection is still going strong. There is an application. I mean, anybody that does live events knows I'm going to South Florida. I'm going to load in a 120-foot wide by 12-foot or 14-foot tall LED wall. You know your challenges are already, smacking you in the face. The load-in capabilities, the time, the freight elevators, the volume, the size of the trucks, comparatively to 6 projectors and a screen surface going into that same venue, the ability to rig it versus ground support. LED is very predominant, it's very strong, and everyone's, where 3.75 was wholly acceptable 3 years ago. Now the 2.6 it's the gold standard. Now they want to get down into the 1.9, 1.8 millimeter pixel pitch. And now you go to the content people and say you need all 8K content. It's that whole process of the content development and the rendering and the pushing those pixels out all require more hardware. 70%, 60% of all the end users out there don't have the budget, they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the desire to try to reproduce that, because as we all know, if the audience starts 30 feet away from the screen, it doesn't really matter. The pixel pitch, anything over 3 mil and down, is completely seamless and acceptable in those applications.
Right, very good. Well, Bob, thank you very much for your time today. If you
Always
have
a
any
pleasure.
questions about anything that we've talked about, or you have any suggestions, or if you just want to talk to Bob, you can send an email to solutions@evolvetechnology.live. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.